Football in North America has been dominated by two leagues, the NFL and the CFL. Of course, if you live in the United States or if you've watched any of my videos before, you know what the NFL is. It's the biggest sports league in the world. It's the National Football League. It started in 1970 as a merger between the AFL and the original NFL teams, further evolving and expanding into the league we know today. But in 1958, our friends from up north created a league of their own. The Canadian Football League was a former merger as well, this one being the Interprovincial Rugby Football Union / the Big Four and the Western Interprovincial Football Union. Both leagues have their differences and similarities, and they're both exclusive to their own countries as far as team locations. Compared to the NFL's 32-team lineup, the CFL only has 9 franchises, and those franchises are the BC Lions, Calgary Stampeders, Edmonton Elks, Saskatchewan Roughriders, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Toronto Argonauts, Hamilton Tiger Cats, Montreal Alouettes, and the Ottawa Redblacks. These 9 clubs have made up the CFL for most of the league's entirety, aside from some off and on disbanding and rebranding of the teams out east. These teams have been mainstays for the league. But at one point, there used to be a few more teams in the league. In the mid-90s, the CFL tried their hand at an American expansion plan. This plan consisted of 7 teams within the United States, and these teams included the Baltimore Stallions, the Las Vegas Posse, the Shreveport Pirates, the Memphis Mad Dogs, the Birmingham Barracudas, the Sacramento Gold Miners, who would then be the San Antonio Texans. So obviously, if you look at their league today, it didn't work. But what if something similar did? With the CFL's former aspirations to move into the US and some Canadian cities having potential to be future NFL expansion spots, I decided to come up with a little concept. That concept is the merging of the NFL and the CFL. Before we get too far into the video, I want to let you guys know that I am doing a giveaway. On December 16th, I will be live streaming and announcing the winner of this giveaway, which is an NFL jersey of your choosing. All you got to do is first, subscribe to the channel, and second, leave all the jersey information. You go color, player, team, of course, and the size. And after that, all you got to do is leave a social media handle just so I can reach you. Specify what social media it is, and make sure you tune into the live stream to figure out who wins. Of course, I'll contact you if you can't make it. And everybody, good luck. Take advantage of the opportunity. Everybody loves free shit. Get your favorite player on a jersey for free. The 2 biggest football leagues in the world happen to be right next to each other. So why not take a look at what a combination of the 2 could look like? Now, as in every concept video, there are some rules. In these videos, we usually try to ignore history the best we can, but honestly, I rely on history a lot more than usual in this concept, so maybe enjoy it while it lasts. The other rule, just have fun with it. This is an imaginary idea, so let's not look too hard into it.
Because it's fun! We're having fun!
And if you've seen a previous video of mine, the NFL realignment, you would know that I'm big on geographically based alignment. So if you haven't seen that video already, you should go check it out, because we're going to be using that same idea as the foundation for our merger in this video. It won't be a copy and paste, but it's going to be the same thought process. So in similar fashion, we are going to separate our teams into 4 team divisions, starting with the division of the BC Lions, the Seattle Seahawks, the Calgary Stampeders, and the Edmonton Elks. This division is made up of primarily Canadian teams along with the Seattle Seahawks, who are right outside of Vancouver anyway, so it makes sense. Next division, we have the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Minnesota Vikings, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the Green Bay Packers. This division carries over 2 rivalries in the Packers and Vikings, and the Roughriders and the Blue Bombers. Next division, we have the Detroit Lions, Toronto Argonauts, Hamilton Tiger Cats, and New York Giants. Another rivalry carried over with the two Ontario residing teams here with the Argonauts and Tiger Cats. Next we have the Montreal Alouettes, the Ottawa Redblacks, the Buffalo Bills, and the New England Patriots. The Bills and Patriots are here from the AFC East, and the last two teams of the Eastern Division from the CFL are here as well. Next we have the San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Chargers, Los Angeles Rams, and the Las Vegas Raiders. This is where we start to see only NFL teams. This division has 3 California teams, the fourth being a former one, but right across the border in Nevada. Then we have the Arizona Cardinals, Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, and Dallas Cowboys. Probably the most spread out division in this concept, but all the teams are relatively close enough to each other for it to work. Then we have the division of the Houston Texans, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Miami Dolphins, made up of 3 teams who play in their conference's South divisions, and literally the most southern located team in the league in the Dolphins. Next is the Atlanta Falcons, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, and Carolina Panthers. Speaking of the South, this division is made up of all teams playing in their conference's South divisions, 2 from the AFC and 2 from the NFC. Then we have the Indianapolis Colts, Chicago Bears, Cleveland Browns, and Cincinnati Bengals. There was a lot of orange in this division. And finally, we have the Baltimore Ravens, Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles, New York Jets, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Immediately, you recognize that there is something different about this division. There are 5 teams, even though it's supposed to be split into divisions of 4. Well, that is thanks to the CFL being weird and it having 9 teams, leaving us with uneven divisions. My OCD is going to be firing off all video long knowing that I don't have an even amount of teams in this concept, hence the 5-team division. Another problem is that we also have 2 teams named the Lions. I would be in favor of changing a team's name, however, I'm not going to disrespect either franchise or their fans, so we're just going to leave it at that. But I do have another concept that may fix the first problem. My other concept would explore the CFL's failed expansions, but I'm not talking about the failed American expansion teams that I was noting earlier, because this is the Canadian Football League merging with the NFL. We have enough teams from the United States, we have 32 of them. I want to try my best to involve as many Canadian teams as possible, so why not include a team that has been in the works for years at this point, the Atlantic Schooners. The Atlantic Schooners franchise was originally proposed to play in 1984, but they couldn't get the funding for a stadium, so it didn't end up coming into fruition. In 2018, though, the CFL discussed an expansion to a 10-league team, and the name that was proposed was the Atlantic Schooners. And 2 locations that have been pitched that they could play in are either Halifax, Nova Scotia, or Moncton, New Brunswick. Regardless of location, with the addition of the Schooners, we now have an even number of teams. But we have 42 teams, which is a shit ton. So instead of doing the typical 4-team divisions, we're going to increase the size, meaning that there are also going to be less of them. There will be a total of 6 divisions, and they'll be made up of 7 teams. Originally, I had 7 divisions of 6, and I liked the layout a lot more, but having 7 divisions, meaning there would be uneven conferences, I couldn't let that happen, so we're going with 6 divisions of 7. So in this one, the divisions will be the BC Lions, the Seattle Seahawks, the Edmonton Elks, the Calgary Stampeders, Saskatchewan Roughriders, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the Minnesota Vikings. Again, this one is basically all Canadian teams besides the Seahawks and the Vikings, but it does geographically make the most sense in terms of the max distance between the 2 teams, and they would still have to travel not too far to play each other. At least the Rough Riders and Blue Bombers rivalry is still here, which is why I decided to put them in over the 49ers. Instead, I put them in this division. The San Francisco 49ers, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Los Angeles Rams, the Los Angeles Chargers, Denver Broncos, Arizona Cardinals, and Dallas Cowboys. A few AFC West rivalries are renewed, with the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos all being in the division, as well as NFC West rivalries with the 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals. Other notable rivalries are the Battle of the Bay with the formerly Oakland Raiders and San Francisco 49ers, and the Battle of Los Angeles. No, not the Chargers and Rams. While technically that counts, I'm talking about the Raiders' other former home in LA, where they were rivals with the Rams for a time. And of course, you have to note the Cowboys and 49ers rivalry too. They are kind of far away, I know, but this is probably the most spread out division in this concept, so bear with me. Our next division is going to consist of the Houston Texans, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, Tennessee Titans, and Atlanta Falcons. This is purely a Southern division, 3 teams from the NFC South and 3 teams from the AFC South, and again, there's the Dolphins, who are literally the most southern located team in the league. Next is the Kansas City Chiefs, Chicago Bears, Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, Hamilton Tiger Cats, and Toronto Argonauts. So almost the whole NFC North is intact aside from the Vikings, but the most historic rivalry remains with the Packers and Bears. Speaking of historic rivalries, the Tiger Cats and Argonauts are in the same division, the 2 teams part of the biggest rivalry in the CFL, I think. Then we have the Indianapolis Colts, Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles, and Carolina Panthers. Almost the whole AFC North remains in this division, and 2 teams from the NFC East are in here too, the Eagles and the Commanders, and the Steagles rivalry is also here. The outliers in this division are really just the Panthers and the Colts. Next is the Ottawa Redblacks, Montreal Alouettes, Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, New York Giants, New York Jets, and the Atlantic Schooners. This northeastern-based division has the Redblacks and Alouettes, the most eastern teams in the CFL, as well as 3 New York teams. I know I got a lot of flack for saying that 3 New York teams, so I'll say this. The Buffalo Bills, the New York Giants, and the New York Jets are all in this division, and we have the expansion team in the Atlantic Schooners joining us as well. As far as coming up with a name for the conferences, I didn't dig too deep into it because I couldn't really split it up between Canada and the NFL, maybe doing like Provincial and Liberty Conference. So I just decided to go with the Northern Conference and the Southern Conference. Then if you were to look at the map of all the teams and the divisions, you could see that we could do a Northeast and a Southeast, Northwest and a Southwest, and kind of a North Central and a South Central. But that is pretty much it for my second proposal of this concept, and honestly the one that I prefer. And that about makes up my NFL and CFL merger video. Let me know how you would like to see the league align the divisions, and what would you do as part of the merger. Rules and field lengths or sizes can be decided upon in a different department, but I'm just the realignment guy. So that's my proposal. These concept videos are honestly my favorite videos to work on, so I'm going to continue to consistently bring them to you, and if you enjoy them, get ready for a lot more. If you enjoy these types of videos, be sure to leave a like. If you haven't already, subscribe. I've got a lot of plans for this channel as we approach the end of the year, as well as the football year. So stay tuned for that. Thanks again so much for watching, and until the next video, I'll see you later.